Hello, and welcome to our session covering breakthrough insights across the life sciences value chain. I'm Kevin Julian, Senior Managing Director in Accenture's Life Sciences practice, and later I'll be joined by my colleague Mike Stapleton, who's the Head of Strategy for Accenture's Life Sciences INTIENT platform. During this session, we'll be talking about why creating breakthrough insights in life sciences is more important than ever. And we'll share how INTIENT, Accenture's life sciences platform powered by Google, is able to generate insights using leading edge Google technology. During this session, we'll spend most of the time illustrating examples of how insights are being generated by INTIENT across the life sciences value chain, from early research through pivotal clinical trials, all the way through to delivering care to patients. Our industry is at a turning point, shifting from small molecule, large population strategic approaches to a more targeted scientific approach. This shift is powered by what we at Accenture call new science. New science is a novel chemistry or biology in previously unsolved areas of need, like cell and gene therapy, often enabled by technology to deliver the therapy or to support the patient, or sometimes maybe technology itself, an app or other technology solution that intervenes in an effective way to improve the patient outcome. Why the shift? Something had to change. The old model simply was not supporting the needs of the market. New science is attracting significantly more attention and investment, and for good reason. Accenture research has determined that new science therapies are almost 50% more likely to be approved, and greater than 50% of sales over the next several years are expected from new science. This shift to new science brings the industry's dependence on technology to the fore. Increasingly, industry depends on connecting data across the enterprise to generate insights into how therapies should be developed and brought to patients. While this ambition is clear, it's also clear that industry has yet to take the necessary actions needed to achieve their goal. According to this IDC study, more than 50% of respondents did not have a clear path to connect, share, and analyze information across their organization. This is where INTIENT comes in. INTIENT, Accenture's platform for the life sciences industry, powered by Google Cloud, enables insights and collaboration across the life sciences enterprise. INTIENT helps the industry generate breakthrough insights in three powerful ways. Through functionally oriented product suites that have been built in key areas of insight need: drug research, clinical trials, pharmacovigilance, and patient services, with other use cases enabled by the INTIENT core platform, and through additional use cases enabled by the INTIENT network, our open ecosystem access solution. Through access to innovative specialty software, services, hardware content, and other business partners, the INTIENT network offers industry standard APIs for pre-competitive functions that easily and quickly integrate into existing systems, the ability to rapidly and flexibly deploy solutions, and lower barrier to entry for new small and/or niche software players. All of this is made possible by the INTIENT core platform powered by Google Cloud. The core platform is a flexible and powerful data-centric solution that connects a variety of data sources and makes insight generation possible. How does it do that? We start by using Google's Healthcare API to accelerate solution development and access third-party solutions with fully managed enterprise-scale FHIR, HL7, and DICOM APIs. We use Google's BigQuery to analyze virtually unlimited amounts of data using standard SQL at scale with zero operational overhead. And AutoML provides non-expert users with access to pre-configured high-quality machine learning models, such as image detection, translation, and natural language processing. Let's illustrate the power of INTIENT with a few examples. To start, My colleague Mike Stapleton will share some of the exciting insights our clients are generating with INTIENT research. Mike?
Thank you, Kevin. In the next section of our presentation, we're going to bring the power of INTIENT to life, looking at three critical parts of the pharmaceutical value chain. I'll start with research, as Kevin mentions. I'll then go through clinical trials and then hand back to Kevin, who will take it home, connecting the value of research and development to the patient and the impact we can have on us and society in general. So let's start with research and the fundamental challenges that face drug discovery scientists. Whether starting with a disease, or starting with a target, or starting with a biomarker discovery program, or indeed repurposing existing research efforts, in every single case, drug discovery scientists are challenged bringing together a wide range of external data, lots of historic, hard to retrieve internal data, assembling that data, bringing it together in a format that can be easily managed, easily visualized, and decisions taken from that aggregated data. Consistently across the whole of drug discovery research, that integration of data, that thinking through a single query, how easy it is to make a decision, and how we can embed advanced tools, artificial intelligence, machine learning, so that more informed decisions, more informed predictions can be made to advance faster and in a more focused way. To bring this to life, I'm going to dig into one of these in a bit more detail and take a look at target discovery as a particular example to show the power of the INTIENT platform. The key challenge here, quite easy to state, is that as an industry, as a society, we know more and more about human disease biology than we've ever have done, and we continue to learn more and more on a daily basis. Through the advances in genomics, to the connectivity and measurement of mobile devices that we all wear today, we understand more and more about us as patients and how that information is connected to a therapeutic or a particular condition or a lifestyle that we have as individuals. But even with that, yet roughly 90% of candidate drugs fail in the clinic. And a large number of those fail because in early stage drug discovery, we still choose poor targets. This has the obvious consequences to the industry: long development times, increased cost, and quite significantly negative patient outcomes. So if we had the opportunity, as we do with a platform strategy like INTIENT, to address this key bottleneck, this key area of pharmaceutical R&D, we would quite clearly have huge impact. So why is it so difficult? Let's have a look at the operational consequences of drug discovery today. Very diverse skill sets are required to manually bring together that external and internal data. Integration of that data is extremely time consuming and often error prone. Key patterns, key indications, key predictions can only be made through machine learning and artificial intelligence capabilities, not by the human mind. And so that's where the INTIENT solution comes in. We can use the INTIENT solution to bring in those broad array of data sources. We can aggregate those data sources, filter, pre-process, and present the data in a much more meaningful and accessible way to a scientist through dashboards, alerts, predictions that allow scientists to better prioritize, better guide, and allow a portfolio activity of project teams to better manage assets and to move forward through the drug discovery process. Ultimately identifying novel targets and prioritizing targets which have a much higher probability of success further into pharmaceutical development. Let's take a look at a screenshot of how that would actually look. And we see here a simple screenshot of a modern user interface from INTIENT, where we bring together that drill down of both therapy, genome, and target, and that important interplay for a drug discovery scientist to make all of those connections through a simple interface, to click to understand, and to predict. And obviously underneath all of this, what is powering all of this, what makes all of this possible, is the INTIENT data fabric, how we actually ingest those broad sources of data, how we present those analytic viewpoints so that they are useful and guide in an intelligent way, how we support, as Kevin mentioned, the broad range of both chemical and biological research that now is just part of the armory for a pharmaceutical research scientist, and how ultimately we action. How do we actually inform partner companies, other scientists, colleagues across the globe to do something as a consequence of our insight through a very integrated request management capability? So you can see at all levels here in drug discovery, in pharmaceutical research, how INTIENT, how the platform that Kevin described, addresses the key bottlenecks of bringing together the data, aggregating the data, and presenting it in an actionable and predictable fashion. Success in research then takes us forward into pharmaceutical development. So let's take a similar view of clinical trials. And we start in a very similar way. We start with the complexity of managing very large, very diverse sets of data, both internal and external to the pharmaceutical company. Hundreds of patients across dozens of sites globally being monitored and tested, and the data from all of those patients in minute detail being brought together for future analysis, prediction, and regulatory filing. Hugely complex logistics that require a scale of computation to cleanse, process, and integrate that data across broad ranges of genetics, genomics, mobile data, real-world data, so that ultimately we can create insights. Presenting that aggregated data in real time so that prediction can be made and analysis made to actually guide future trial design, to inform conduct and commercial viability, and to ultimately facilitate the filing of a new drug to the regulatory authorities. Let's take a look at clinical operations as one example here of how all this comes together. The challenge being, as I just stated, bringing together those very large, diverse formats and sources of data from numerous internal systems across a pharmaceutical company and significant sources of information from partner CROs. And this challenge leads to inconsistency, leads to delays in actually changing trial guidelines, and ultimately increases costs and time. So what makes operations in clinical different? As we asked the question in research a few moments ago, again, we see similar patterns here. Integration of those disparate data sources is fundamental, extremely time-consuming, and extremely expensive. Effective monitoring requires access to comprehensive and timely data, and trends in clinical trials are complex and require incredibly complex interactive analyses. So again, we see how the INTIENT solution, the platform capabilities addressing these complexities and challenges facing clinical operations. Robust, flexible data ingestion, transformation of that data in a way that makes the data usable and actionable, actions to actually remediate issues in a much more timely fashion, and visualizations through interactive dashboards, predictive tools, predictive simulation, and analytics methods. So again, if we go to look at a screenshot here, we can see how all this comes together. A single viewpoint, a clinical control tower, if you like, a visualization of the state of a particular trial or a set of trials, how we monitor these through that dashboard, how we see red, amber, and yellow indicators to easily flag activities that are on track or are not on track and require action, how we can drill down into problematic areas, regions, countries, sites, and particular patient demographics, and how those reports can easily be accessed by all leadership and scientists and medical practitioners collaborating globally on a particular program. So in both research and clinical, we've seen how the common themes of data integration, aggregation and presentation of that data, our analysis and visualization and prediction of that data comes together through INTIENT. And success then means we move to the patient. And Kevin will take it from here to explain how the value of R&D is then accelerated through greater patient engagement.
Thanks, Mike. And indeed, even if one were to identify the best research target and successfully take it through clinical trials with all the capabilities that Mike just described, it wouldn't achieve its ultimate potential if we didn't solve for the needs of the patient we're targeting here. INTIENT helps life sciences organizations get closer to the patient through our INTIENT patient solution. Capabilities include integrated patient care, which supports better treatment outcomes, real-world outcomes research, creating greater understanding of clinical and economic value, patient engagement support, which improves initiation and compliance to prescribed treatments, and precision medicine delivery, which provides needle-to-needle support for new treatment programs. All of those are important, but let's focus on integrated patient care. With INTIENT Patient, we're enabled to allow physicians to prescribe digital support programs, allowing patients to use devices and apps, and all connected via INTIENT Patient to manage their care. We allow their care providers to monitor that care, analyze and make recommendations to improve the care program. All of this, importantly, enables us to lower cost, improve patient adherence, and ultimately improve patient outcomes. Let's take a look at an example of our digital patient study solution, which provides a tool for principal investigators to cohesively manage virtual study performance. With INTIENT Patient, we can manage and track patient enrollment across sites, easily configure and provision the devices that patients use, track adherence to protocols, and make early interventions that prevent patient dropout from the clinical trial, and leverage insights learned through the trial to ultimately create an even better patient experience when that therapy is brought to market. All of these capabilities together and the insights that are derived from them help our life sciences customers develop therapies that are built and delivered with the patient in mind. Those are the examples of insights that we've generated across the life sciences value chain using INTIENT, Accenture's life science platform powered by Google. If you have any questions, our contact information is on this slide. We'd be happy to answer them. And now it's for me to thank you for joining us to learn more about generating breakthrough insights across the life sciences value chain. Thank you.